Okay, so I want you to imagine something for a second. Imagine if every single person in a major city decided to go to their kitchen and turn on their microwave at the exact same millisecond.
Oh, man. The grid would just instantly give up.
Right, it would melt. But that is actually the reality of what our electrical grid is facing right now, just not with microwaves. It's uncoordinated electric vehicle charging.
Yeah. And it's happening faster than anyone really anticipated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we are looking at this massive silent revolution happening on our roads. Like, global EV sales hit 17 million in 2024 alone.
Which is staggering.
It is. And that pushed the total global fleet to about 58 million vehicles on the road. And the predictions show this hitting, what, 43 million annual sales by 2030?
Yeah, that's the current trajectory, which means we are actively building the largest, most unpredictable distributed energy draw in human history.
So the mission of our deep dive today is to answer one really terrifying question. How on earth do we power all these vehicles without melting the global electrical grid?
It's the multi-trillion-dollar question, really.
It is. So to figure this out, we are diving into three really incredible sources today. We've got a dense academic paper on AI in EV networks, a super comprehensive review of global charging standards, and a 2026 market intelligence report.
And looking at all three together is so important because you really see how hardware, artificial intelligence, and mobile energy storage are combining to save the grid.
Yeah, because we can't just build more power plants, right? I mean, that's not going to cut it.
No, absolutely not. That's a huge trap. The intuitive response is, oh, just generate more power and build thicker wires. But utility infrastructure moves at this, glacial pace compared to how fast people are buying cars.
Right, you can't just throw up a new power plant in a week.
Exactly. You can't even get the permits for a substation fast enough. So the solution requires the symphony of standardized hardware, intelligent software, and honestly, treating the vehicles themselves as part of the infrastructure.
Okay, so before we even get to the AI brains managing all the power, let's talk about the hardware battlefield, the actual physical plug going into the car.
Oh, the standards fragment. Yeah, it's a mess.
It is. It's so fragmented globally.
Yeah.
The sources point out that North America uses SAE, J1772, and CCS, though, we are seeing a massive shift toward Tesla's ecosystem now.
Right. Tesla opened that up, and it really shifted the baseline in North America.
But then Europe is using IEC Type 2 and their own version of CCS. China relies on this totally different state-mandated protocol called GBT, and Japan uses a demo.
Which is a deeply regionalized ecosystem, to put it mildly.
It really is. And I have to ask, is this just a repeat of the early cell phone days? When everyone had a different proprietary charger just to lock you in? Or is there a deeper infrastructure reason for this global split?
Well, it's actually highly practical. It's rooted in how different continents built their electrical grids like a century ago. It's about differing grid frequencies and local utility regulations.
Well, really, it's not just corporate greed.
No, not entirely. Take Europe's IEC Type 2 plug, for example. Their residential grids are widely built to support three-phase AC power.
Which means what, exactly, for those of us who aren't electrical engineers?
It basically means they transmit power over 3 alternating currents simultaneously, instead of just one. It allows for a much smoother, higher capacity power delivery.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and because three-phase power is readily available even in European homes, their standard EV plug was designed with extra pins specifically to handle that.
Whereas in North America, we don't have that in our garages.
Right. American homes use single-phase or split-phase power, so a bulky three-phase plug just doesn't make any sense there. And China's GBT standard is built around their specific urban density and state utility safety mandates.
Got it. So standardizing everything is a massive hurdle because you're fighting national policies and physical grid realities, not just different shaped plastic.
Exactly. But regardless of the plug shape, the sheer volume of power flowing through them is escalating rapidly.
Which brings us to the 2026 Luminix AI data from our sources. This blew my mind. Ultra-fast chargers, we're talking 350 kilowatts and up, are now totally mainstream.
Yeah, they are the commercial baseline now.
They can push an 80% charge in 15 to 20 minutes. Like the EcoEnergetica SAT-400 satellites powering those 500 kilowatt hubs for Ionity in Norway.
Those are incredible pieces of engineering.
But the craziest part is the heavy-duty truck stuff. The megawatt charging system, or MCS, we're talking over 1 megawatt of power.
Yeah, over 1,000 kilowatts to a single vehicle. It's wild.
So they could recharge these massive batteries during the driver's mandatory 45-minute breaks. But how do the cables not just melt?
Well, that's the thing, they would melt. So to safely push that much current, the MCS cables are actively liquid-cooled.
Wait, there's liquid in the charging cable.
Yeah. They have microchannels of synthetic coolant circulating through the cord itself, pulling heat away from the copper in real time.
That is insane. But okay, if we're dealing with heavy liquid-cooled cables, what about wireless charging? We've been hearing about that for years. Is that going to save us?
Despite all the hype, inductive wireless charging is still largely in the pilot stage as of 2026.
Why? It seems so convenient.
It is convenient, but it's bottlenecked by core physics, specifically the air gap. When you try to shoot a magnetic field across even 6 inches of empty space, you lose energy.
So it's just not as efficient as a wired connection.
Not even close. You suffer high infrastructure costs and severe efficiency gaps compared to wired chargers. And when the grid is already straining, voluntarily losing 10% of your electricity just to bridge an air gap is a catastrophic waste.
Okay, that makes total sense. Wired is here to stay. But that brings up the obvious flaw, which leads us to section 2.
The grid bottleneck.
Right. If you plug in a megawatt truck or, I don't know, 350 kilowatt cars at once at a rest stop, the local grid will literally fry. You can't just build thicker wires everywhere.
We can't. The physical hardware has limits, so the digital side has to intervene.
And this is where the Sharma paper on machine learning really steps in. Artificial intelligence has to act as the traffic cop.
Precisely. The grid needs a brain. AI is stepping in to manage forecasting, scheduling, and dynamic pricing.
And the star of the show in the research is something called the long short-term memory model, right? The LSTM.
Yes, the LSTM. It's a highly specialized neural network, and it operates at a 94% accuracy rate in classifying and managing charging behaviors.
94% is huge. But why is it better than just normal AI?
Because the grid is an incredibly noisy data environment.
Noisy meaning unpredictable.
Exactly. Sudden weather changes, a traffic spike because of a concert, a cloud covering a solar farm. LSTM models have internal memory gates that allow them to handle that unpredictability.
So it's kind of like an ultra-efficient air traffic controller, but it's managing billions of electrons instead of planes.
That's a great way to look at it. What's fascinating here is that the LSTM doesn't just predict what might happen, it allows the grid to actively optimize power distribution in real time.
Which reduces those peak voltage drops and ideally saves everyone money.
Right, it flattens the energy load curve.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, but also super tricky. Because as a driver, I have to be honest. When I pull up to a charger, I want my car charged right now.
Of course you do. Everyone does.
Right, like why on earth would I let some AI throttle my charging speed just to protect a local transformer?
Well, you wouldn't do it for free. This is where we get into indirectly controlled charging.
Indirectly controlled,
Okay.
meaning they don't just force a limit on me.
Exactly. If they forced it, the public backlash would destroy EV adoption. So instead, the AI relies on dynamic pricing to negotiate with you.
Okay, so how does that work in practice?
Let's say you plug in at 5:30 p.m., peak grid stress. The AI communicates with your car and basically makes an offer.
Like a financial offer.
Yes, it says, hey, I can give you max speed right now, but you'll pay an extreme premium. Or, if you let me delay your high-speed charge by 20 minutes to balance the grid, I'll give you significantly cheaper electricity.
Ah, so economics will drive consumer behavior. If I'm just sitting at home anyway, I'll take the discount.
Exactly. It balances the macro needs of the grid against your micro-financial preferences.
That is brilliant. But even with the best AI traffic cop in the world,
Yeah.
physical limitations still exist. Which brings us to the energy ecosystem itself.
Right, because AI can't create power out of thin air.
No, it can't. Like, think about a rural highway station. If they simply do not have the transmission lines to support 4 ultra-fast chargers, where does the power actually come from?
This is a huge issue. The research points out that upgrading a rural utility substation can cost $3 million.
$3 million.
And take 2 to 5 years just to get permitted and build. We can't wait 5 years for every rest stop.
So what are they doing instead? The sources mentioned this thing called battery buffer charging.
Yes, this is a game changer. Instead of waiting for the massive utility upgrade, stations are installing local batteries right there on site.
So they use their standard weak grid connection to just slowly sip power, 247.
Precisely. They sip the power constantly, store it in their own battery bank, and then when you pull up demanding a 350 kilowatt surge, they dump that stored power rapidly into your car.
Completely shielding the local grid from the shock.
Yeah.
That is so smart. And the market report said this saves them like 65% on capital costs.
Up to 65%, yes. It acts as an energetic shock absorber.
And they're exploring other ways to store this energy locally too, right? Not just standard batteries.
Yeah, charging hubs are looking into compressed air energy storage, or CES.
Where they compress air into tanks during low demand and release it to generate power when needed.
Exactly. And they are also using flywheels.
Flywheels. That's basically kinetic energy, right? Like a
Wow.
heavy spinning top in a vacuum.
That's it. You spin it up with excess electricity, and when you need power, the motor reverses and acts as a generator. They are incredibly useful for high-power, short-duration pulses.
Like for an electric city bus that just needs a huge blast of power during a 3-minute stop.
Exactly. Flywheels don't degrade chemically like lithium batteries do, so you can pulse them thousands of times a day.
Which is the perfect pivot to our last big topic here, vehicle-to-grid, or V2G.
Yes. The ultimate paradigm shift.
Because with 58 million EVs on the road, we are basically driving around a massive distributed battery network.
We are. V2G allows cars to discharge energy back to the grid during peak demand.
So instead of just taking energy, my car can give it back when the grid is stressed.
Exactly. It makes the grid bidirectional.
Okay, wait a minute. I have a major practical concern here. If I let the utility company suck power out of my car, aren't I burning through my expensive EV battery's lifespan?
It is the most common fear, and honestly, it's completely valid.
Really? So it does damage the battery.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, yes, V2G adds what we call cycle aging to the battery.
Cycle aging, meaning wear and tear from charging and discharging.
Right. Factors like depth of discharge, or DOD, and temperature play a huge role. If you drain a battery deeply, it causes microstructural stress.
So why would anyone agree to V2G then?
This is exactly why the AI and LSTM models are so crucial. The AI doesn't just blindly drain your battery.
It knows what it's doing.
Yes, it has to balance the grid needs against protecting the health of your specific battery chemistry. It will only cycle the battery in the optimal shallow sweet spot where mechanical stress is practically zero.
Oh, I see. So it only takes a tiny sip from the top of my battery, not a deep drain.
Exactly. And it ensures you are financially compensated enough to make it worth your while.
Wow. Okay, so bringing this all together, the next time you plug in an EV, you aren't just fueling a vehicle.
Not at all. It's much bigger than that.
You are interfacing with this massive global web. Competing hardware standards, predictive AI traffic cops, and a bi-directional energy grid.
It really is a marvel of modern engineering when it all works together.
So what does this all mean? It means your car is no longer just a way to get from A to B. It's a vital piece of the global energy grid.
It is. And, there's one final thought I want to leave the listener with, building on all these sources.
Oh, I like where this is going. What is it?
We've talked about AI managing charging and cars acting as grid batteries. But as autonomous driving technology matures alongside these smart charging systems, think about the logical next step.
Okay.
What happens when your car can intelligently drive itself to a charging station at 3 a.m. to buy the cheapest possible wind power and then drive back to plug into your house at 7 a.m.?
Wait, so it charges for pennies while I sleep and then powers my house during the expensive morning hours.
Exactly. Your car could effectively become an autonomous energy trader while you sleep, buying low, selling high, all on its own.
An autonomous energy trader in your garage. That is absolutely wild to think about. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
We hope you keep learning, stay curious, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.